on this Sunday night.
It's 11 people lost their life just because they are Jews. Unbelievable.
Trying to comprehend the horror at a Pittsburgh synagogue, how the dead are being remembered, and the enduring hatred that took them.
I thought we were past this.
In a meeting with her insurance adjuster, a breastfeeding mom is asked to leave the room. Go Public investigates why this still happens in 2018. And Vancouver says so long to Alphonso Davies, a genuine homegrown phenom. Next up, the top of the soccer world, and he's still just 17. This is The National.
Bigotry will not win. Hatred will not win.
A clear message from the people of Pittsburgh tonight at a multi-faith vigil attended by thousands. They will not give way to hate or give up on peace in the wake of yesterday's massacre at a synagogue. 11 killed, 6 wounded. The deadliest anti-Semitic attack in the history of the United States. We are learning more tonight about the victims of the attack. People killed while worshiping, gunned down because they were Jewish. And among the dead, a woman who grew up in Canada. 75-year-old Joyce Feinberg was once a member of Toronto's Holy Blossom Temple. That's where she met and married her husband before moving to the U.S. The oldest victim, 97-year-old Rose Mallinger. The former president of the synagogue says she was a Holocaust survivor. The youngest victim, 54-year-old David Rosenthal, that's him on the left. He and his brother Cecil were inseparable. They died together yesterday. And among the 7 other congregants killed, Jerry Rabinowitz is being remembered as a kind and caring doctor, and husband and wife, Sylvan and Bernice Simon, married for almost 62 years. Paul Hunter has more from a city in pain.
In Pittsburgh tonight, sorrow, determination, and defiance.
We will drive anti-Semitism and the hate of any people back to the basement on their computer and away from the open discussions and dialogues around this city, around this state, and around this country.
Yesterday's shooting Rampage at the Tree of Life synagogue, say police, a hate crime, didn't just leave 11 dead, it left a city stunned. The accused, Robert Bowers, reportedly shouted, "All Jews must die," as he opened fire. He may face the death penalty. Outside the synagogue today, mourners struggled to process any of it. Among them, Carl and Bella Schachter, both Holocaust survivors. As children held in camps in Ukraine, they later fled to America and safety. But now, decades later, this.
I don't know what I feel today. I honestly don't know.
It's very sad. It's a very sad day. We always said never again. But it did happen again. It's just unbelievable. It's 11 people lost their life just because they are Jews.
Coming as it does on the heels of those pipe bombs, say police, sent by a Trump supporter to critics of Donald Trump, has Americans wondering, what has this country become? Say many, the hate on display evermore is fueled by regular polarizing language from the White House.
We have a demented, unhinged individual who is unfortunately President of the United States. And what he is setting as an example is simply, he's inflaming what always subliminally has been part of the American culture.
Earlier, Pittsburgh's mayor pushed back against Donald Trump's comments yesterday that it may be time to put armed guards at synagogues.
I think the approach that we need to be looking at is how we take the guns, which is the common denominator of every mass shooting in America, out of the hands of those that are looking to express hatred through murder.
Meanwhile, Americans themselves seem to be losing faith that any of this can ever be turned around.
Hate speech and a gun culture brings possibility of mayhem, and that's what we have. We have mayhem.
Tonight, Robert Bowers is under guard in hospital, recovering from wounds in a police shootout as the rampage here ended last night. He's scheduled for a court appearance tomorrow. Andrew.
And Paul, we got a sense in your piece how people are coping, but you've been there all day, and I want to just ask you outright, how are people coping?
Barely, right? This seems to have really ripped into this city. It's just so sad here tonight. But I got to say, it's a feeling I've seen before in other cities where there have been other mass shootings, and there have been plenty of them. But there's a recognition here that seems to make it worse, which is that, you know, here we are yet again.
And is anyone expecting any fallout from this, politically, I mean, in Washington?
Yeah, well, from everyone I talked to, it was lost on no one that the midterms are coming up. So they say, vote. Vote your conscience. If you link hate with President Trump, get out and vote. Make your feelings known at the ballot box. They told me it's the only response they've got.
Okay, thanks very much. The CBC's Paul Hunter in Pittsburgh tonight. And the horror of the Pittsburgh attack is being felt in Jewish communities around the world, and of course here in Canada as well.
I wanted to stand in unity with the people of Squirrel Hill. I think it's such a tragedy, and it breaks my heart. We all have to act. We all have to raise our voices against what's going on in the world today.
Because every Jew is affected by this. No one is free from harm. Even here, can you have guards all the time? Armed guards?
Now, part of making sense of what happened will involve understanding exactly how it happened, leading up to the shooting certainly, but also consider what the panic of the moment must have been like. At 9:54 a.m., dozens of 911 calls begin to pour in. Within a minute, 2 police cars pull up. Then a few minutes later, just before 10, the suspect exits the synagogue and confronts them.
We're under fire. He's got an automatic weapon.
The suspect flees back into the building. More police arrive, including tactical units.
Police cars everywhere, guns drawn, rifles.
Intelligence from 911 calls is relayed to the scene. At about 10:30, a SWAT team goes in, while patrol police focus on helping survivors.
We're evacuating 1 right now, still alive. We have at least 4 down in the atrium, DOA at this time.
The SWAT officers, they find the suspect on the 3rd floor.
Come on, we got a guy barricaded actively shooting at SWAT operators. All right, be advised, we have a suspect giving us hands and view. We're negotiating a surrender at this time. 7-1, clear the air. We have a surrender in progress. Suspects crawling out at this time.
One difficult task going forward will be to understand Robert Bowers himself. Turns out he used a little-known social network to share anti-Semitic messages. It's called Gab, and it bills itself as a place where all speech is welcome. But as Talia Ricci tells us, it may be much more than that.
Not long before the deadly synagogue shooting, Robert Bowers logged on to Gab. He wrote, "I can't sit by and watch my people get slaughtered. Screw your optics, I'm going in." Many of his previous posts were anti-Semitic and pro-gun.
Gab is one of the new forums to have emerged once it became apparent that, you know, more traditional sort of mainstream, if you will, social media platforms were going to start to bounce extreme members of the far right.
Barbara Perry has been researching Gab for months. She says it's a hotbed for far-right conspiracy theories, some of it intensely anti-Semitic, and it's not alone.
When they get closed off from one, they move on to another.
Gab says it champions free speech and individual liberty. Now it's defending itself, saying it has a zero-tolerance policy for terrorism and violence.
We're very saddened and disgusted by the news of violence in Pittsburgh. We have been working with the FBI and the U.S. Department of Justice all day long to ensure that they have the information that they need.
A social media footprint for investigators is the treasure trove. This is where someone apparently may honestly tell you who they are, what they think, what their motives are.
PayPal confirmed to CBC News today that it has canceled Gab's account. Gab's host server announced it's suspending the site, but experts say it can be risky to silence platforms like Gab because that could turn potentially dangerous users to deeper, darker corners of the internet.
It also has the potential, as we've seen, to feed that victim status, that victim mentality that they have, that now they're the targets, now they're the ones who are being silenced.
The site still appears to be operating. In tweets, Gab said it's already found a new host, even as scrutiny mounts on it and other sites like it. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, the suspect has been charged with hate crimes, but not terrorism. You might be asking why. Well, in the U.S., a hate crime is one inspired by an individual's bias against a race, ethnic group, or religion. But terrorism is connected to ideology the person is trying to propagate through violence. And for now, at least, prosecutors don't see that. All right, we have a lot ahead for you tonight on The National. They saved thousands of lives in Syria, voluntarily putting themselves in danger in a war zone. We're there as some white helmets arrive here in Canada to start a new life. Also, a fond farewell tonight to Alphonso Davies. Vancouver says thank you to the teenage soccer star as he prepares to take on the best in the world. First, though, a Calgary woman is going public with an experience she says left her feeling humiliated. She says she was meeting with her insurance adjuster when he asked her not to breastfeed her baby in his office. Now, maybe you think that's an open and shut case of discrimination, but as Rosa Marcatelli found out, Canada's human rights laws aren't actually quite so crystal clear.
I didn't know. This mom of 3 has never given a second thought to breastfeeding her kids until her insurance adjuster tried kicking her out of a meeting in his office for doing just that. Her husband and daughters were also in the room.
I was really embarrassed, feeling like I don't have control over my own life, over my son's life.
She was recording the meeting to have a record of the claim. The insurance adjuster walks back into the room after getting some paperwork and realizes the baby is nursing under his mother's headscarf.
At this point, actually, I do have to ask you to leave the room because this is making me very uncomfortable. Okay. This is a professional environment, and it feels like this is particularly unnecessary at this point in time.
So I can't record, but you can record?
No. It appears that you're breastfeeding your child in front of me.
So you're kicking me out because I'm breastfeeding while I'm covered.
Does it surprise you that in 2018 we're having this conversation?
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. I thought we were past this.
This breastfeeding advocate believes this is a clear case of discrimination.
Well, people should know that they can't discriminate on the basis of sex, just like they can't discriminate on the basis of color or religion or any other, part of our humanity.
But this academic says the laws aren't clear enough. While a few provinces do have breastfeeding discrimination in their policies, it's not specifically mentioned in any human rights laws. Instead, it's assumed to be covered under sex discrimination. Umar Kodeh says that needs to change.
Mothers will know that they're protected under the Human Rights Act, the relevant one that applies to their situation. But in addition to that, it gives good guidance for employers as well as service providers that they too have certain obligations that they have to meet.
The laws are also unclear on what is a private versus public area, according to lawyer Barbara Green, who specializes in human rights complaints.
What is ambiguous here is this is a private office of what appears to be a public service provider.
After Go Public contacted the Alberta Motor Association, a private insurance company, it apologized to Spencer Cosgrove, saying, "We believe fundamentally in the importance of this issue and unequivocally support a woman's right to breastfeed at any time and at any place of her choosing." It also says it's now reviewing its employee education programs and policies. Rosa Marcatelli, CBC News, Calgary.
And lots of stories just like this one come from you, our viewers. So if you want to get in touch with CBC's Go Public team, drop them an email at gopublic@cbc.ca. Okay, let's turn now to a story that is continuing frustration for a number of would-be parents in this country. There are an estimated 40,000 abandoned children in Pakistan, and Canadian families are eager to adopt them. But the federal government is standing in the way, blocking adoptions from several Muslim countries, even adoptions where parents and children were already matched up. Habiba Noshin from the CBC's Fifth Estate looks at what's being done for these families in limbo.
Some of this Canadian mom's fondest childhood memories are from here. We're calling her Sarah. She longs for her son to experience them too.
It's hard enjoying all the things that I enjoyed as a child that I think he would enjoy, and not being able to enjoy it as 3 generations would together as a family.
Over the past 6 years, Sarah and her father have been fighting to bring her adopted son from Pakistan to Canada, but Canada refuses to recognize her adoption. Sarah's asked us not to reveal her identity because she worries it could hurt her chances of finally bringing her son home.
I least expected that the actual roadblock was going to come from my own government.
The Fifth Estate obtained government documents to try to find out why. Canadians had been adopting from Pakistan for decades. Then, in 2013, with no warning, Canada halted adoptions from there. According to Canada, Pakistani law does not allow adoptions.
Take a look at 137, where they're talking about Sharia law.
The announcement was ushered in quietly. Canada had concluded that Sharia law doesn't allow adoptions. Therefore, no more adoptions from Pakistan. It doesn't end there. Lawyer Haida Amirzadeh represents families who have adopted from other Muslim countries and have been unable to bring their child to Canada. I'm just trying to make sense of why is the Canadian government in the business of interpreting Sharia law?
I would say it was politically motivated.
By who? For what
by the
purpose?
previous government.
And what did
to
they
prevent
want?
people from a Muslim majority country to be adopted or to come to Canada.
Though the ban was ushered in under the Harper government, the current government has upheld the same policy for the last 3 years. Minister of Immigration Ahmed Hussein refused our request for an on-camera interview. Instead, his office sent us this statement saying, quote, "We've asked the department to initiate a review of this policy to determine a path forward to regularize adoptions from Pakistan." Meanwhile, if Sarah isn't successful in bringing her son to Canada, she knows she could be the second mother in her son's life who's had to abandon him. The Fifth Estate investigation found that adoption aren't just being blocked from Pakistan, but from many other Muslim countries, including Yemen, Morocco, Algeria, for similar reasons, the Canadian government telling the families that Sharia law doesn't allow adoptions.
But Habiba, I mean, what about Sarah's particular case, where everything seemed to be going okay until they weren't any longer? Is her case unique in that sense?
So we wanted to find out, and we requested documents from the government, memos and emails, internal emails that were sent at the time of this ban. What we learned is that according to the Canadian government's estimate at that time in 2013, when this ban came into place, there were 54 families who had already been approved for adoption from Pakistan who were now going to be caught up in this. And this is just for the case in Pakistan.
Right. And so how are other Western countries dealing with this ban, particularly with Pakistan?
You know, Canada is kind of alone on this. You know, they had been doing adoptions from Pakistan for decades before this ban was announced. UK, US have all been doing adoptions and have raised no concern similar to what Canada has been saying for the last 5 years.
And so, I mean, very quickly, the government has said to you, there's a review underway.
Yes.
How long is that expected to take?
No idea. We asked for follow-up to say how long do they expect this to take and what will happen to the families who we spoke to in our investigation. We got no response, but we'll stay on that.
Habiba, thanks so much.
Thank you, Andrew.
And you can watch the full story online. Just head over to cbc.ca/fifth. Now let's go to Renee Filipponi in Vancouver. She watches developing stories for us on Sunday nights.
Well, a plane with 188 people on board has crashed off the coast of Indonesia. Lion Air says it lost contact with the Boeing 737-800 13 minutes after it took off from Jakarta. Now, the pilot had just requested to return to the airport, and there is no word on survivors. A search is now underway where debris thought to be from the plane, including aircraft seats and personal items, have been found. It's unclear what caused the crash, but the plane was nearly brand new.
And ahead tonight on The National, an in-depth look at the power of ayahuasca, a controversial hallucinogen. Why are so many people taking it? Mark Kelly takes us inside a special ceremony to find out. And a little later, they risked everything to save lives in Syria. Now they're starting a new life of their own here in Canada. We're there as the white helmets arrive. First, though, 17 and ready to take on the world. Soccer star Alphonso Davies says farewell to Vancouver.
Alphonso Davies all the way! Oh, what a perfect way to say farewell to Fonzie!
Just want to wish you good luck on your next chapter. You've been doing your thing here in Vancouver, so I just want to wish you all the best luck in Germany. You know, Bayern Munich's going to take good care of you.
I just want to congratulate you on an amazing start to your career. Keep repping Edmonton, and good luck in Germany.
Two great Canadian athletes saying goodbye to a third. Today, Edmonton-raised Alphonso Davies played his last game with the Vancouver Whitecaps. In one of the biggest deals in Major League Soccer, the 17-year-old is bound for Germany and the Champions League. But first, Briar Stewart was at BC Place for the send-off.
Oh my gosh!
It's not often that when a team is already out of the playoffs, the final game of the season attracts this kind of crowd and excitement. But these fans are here to watch Alphonso Davies play one last time in Vancouver and wish him luck for what's next.
I mean, it's been amazing because he kind of changed the game.
It's pretty cool to see somebody that went through so much make it in Canada and then go to Europe.
Hopefully, he'll score a goal today. Leave us a good memory.
Davies was born in a refugee camp in Ghana. He grew up in Edmonton, where coaches realized early on he had something special, which is why at just 14 he came to Vancouver to play for the Whitecaps. 3 years later, with his family at his side, he got set to play his final game here because he's destined for one of the world's great teams, Bayern Munich. He was signed to the German powerhouse in an MLS record-setting transfer deal worth more than $22 million US. And today on the Vancouver pitch, his talent was on full display.
It's going to be Alphonso Davies all the way! Oh, what a perfect way to say farewell to...
He scored 2 goals in the first half.
Oh, and Fonzie breaks in again!
Leading the Whitecaps to a 2-1 victory over Portland. And long after the game ended, the crowd and Davies' parents stayed on their feet.
They just said they're proud of me. Congratulations. As you can see, my mom tried to pick me up, but I'm a big boy now. I'm not her little baby anymore.
And while he's headed to Germany, there's still plenty for Canadian fans to look forward to. Davies is still only 17 years old, and he'll be back, poised to be a star player on Canada's national team. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Vancouver.
And oh, to be in that stadium for that. Okay, up next on The National, we explore the lure of ayahuasca. The hallucinogenic tea from the Amazon is growing in popularity with people who believe in its healing power. Mark Kelly goes in depth at an illegal ceremony here in North America.
I just was torn out into the universe, put back together, and I just felt the love with a tear coming out of my eye, and I was reset. And I just felt all this love, and they're like, you're cured.
I just decided to just drop what I was doing, and I'm going to make a career change to become an addictions counselor.
Sebastian Woodruff was from British Columbia. He wanted to be a healer. That led him to Peru, where he sought out indigenous teachers and mind-altering drugs. But when one of the Amazon's most renowned shamans ended up dead, Woodruff was blamed, then lynched by an angry mob. Earlier this evening, the CBC's Fifth Estate explored Sebastian Woodruff's terrible story. And now we're going to pick up on one particular detail. He was apparently in the grips of a controversial hallucinogen called ayahuasca, which some believe helps with a host of mental health issues. But as more and more people are drawn to it, even here in Canada, there's a growing worry about what is an illegal substance in this country. Mark Kelly has this exclusive report.
To some, this is a sacred ceremony, consuming a plant medicine from the Amazon. It's called ayahuasca. It's illegal in Canada, but could this ancient brew be embraced here one day by modern medicine?
You could see bad things, you could see good things, but that's what the medicine gives you. It gives you what you really need.
Years ago, you would have been hard-pressed to find an ayahuasca ceremony being held outside of the Amazon. But now more and more people believe in the power and the promise of the plant. And that's brought us here to the suburbs of New York City. And tonight, we're getting rare access to one of those ceremonies.
Good morning. Hey, how you doing?
I'm Mark.
Nice to meet you, Bjorn.
Nice to meet you.
I'm here for a night of discovery with a healer named Bjorn Lieneman, his apprentice, Del Henderson, and a potent brew of jungle medicine, ayahuasca.
It's going to be a wild night. This is the ayahuasca?
Yeah, the ayahuasca was already pre-made and everything in Peru. But what we do
Ayahuasca is made by combining Amazonian roots and leaves, which, when boiled together, produce a naturally occurring psychedelic called DMT. What's considered natural in the jungle seems a little unusual in a Long Island kitchen, as the brew is blessed with ceremonial tobacco. Ayahuasca has a sludgy consistency.
It smells resiny.
And I'm told it tastes like the jungle.
Come on, Dora.
And some believe it can change your life. Just ask Bjorn.
Cleanses you, gets rid of all the bad stuff, you know.
He grew up in Long Island, ran with a rough crowd. A bullet in his spine sparked a spiraling dependence on heroin to help heal his chronic pain.
You were addicted?
Addicted, and it's like a never-ending circle, going in and out of jail, back and forth, and then it was kind of strange when I went to jail. I met some guy in there and said, he told me about ayahuasca and said he was a shaman. And he says if I would do ayahuasca, I wouldn't be addicted to heroin no more. I said, how's that possible?
When Bjorn was released in 2007, he ordered some ayahuasca online and dove in. He landed in a sea of self-discovery, riding the waves of powerful hallucinations.
I just was torn out into the universe, put back together, and I just felt the love with a tear coming out of my eye, and I was reset. And I just felt all this love, and they're like, you're cured, you know?
And you believe it's the ayahuasca that has healed you of your drug addiction?
Yes, but you got to want it. You can't, just think it's a magic pill and it's gonna work and this and that. You gotta also work with it. The biggest part, it gives you a spiritual awakening.
That's a pretty bold claim, but it's testimonials like Bjorn's that, for so many, are building the aura and the appeal of ayahuasca. It's believed ayahuasca has been used for centuries by indigenous people in the Amazon, where it's referred to as the medicine. The hallucination seen as a gateway to spiritual growth and healing. Ceremonies in North America are a relatively new thing. Will the experience be the same? Well, that's what these people are here to find out. Justin Abad is struggling with addiction issues.
It was drugs at one point, like cocaine and things of that sort. And now it's shifted towards food.
Have you tried more sort of conventional treatments?
Therapy, things of that sort. It just felt uncomfortable to me.
Maria Marine's curiosity about ayahuasca led her to Bjorn.
I need to look inside of me. I need to see what it is, if there's more to it.
In this cramped suburban sunroom, the most unlikely of healing settings, some leaning against a hot tub, the ayahuasca begins to take effect. That means purging, violent vomiting, a prelude to the visions or hallucinations that for some can trigger a transformation. It's not just me that's watching this intently. So too are scientists.
Have you ever tried it?
Yes.
What was your experience like?
I would say my
biggest experience was how it helped me get off tobacco.
Really?
Yeah.
Brian Rush is an internationally recognized scientist in Toronto, specializing in addiction and mental health.
Like, I saw myself dead. It was very clear from tobacco because my body was covered in black tar. And I never had a cigarette since. That was about 8 years ago. This is a painting from a very well-known artist.
Is this a reference to an ayahuasca experience?
Yes.
The visions that people are having, this is a representation of those visions.
Yeah. Very vivid. So
the visions are triggered by the DMT. Other naturally occurring chemicals in the mix stimulate neurotransmitters in the brain. Those can affect everything from mood to anxiety levels and self-awareness. Rush says new research has just been published about the potential of ayahuasca to help with depression.
So the best kind of research, our world of research, a double-blind clinical trial. So the person doesn't know what they're getting, the investigator doesn't know what they're getting, and it's a randomized controlled trial. The first one was published on ayahuasca and showed the benefits for depression. The world of research took notice. This is hard to argue against.
And that could be why ayahuasca's popularity is soaring. Rush estimates thousands of Canadians may have tried it, some seeing it as a natural alternative to prescription drugs or therapy. People like Yuri Blahin.
Maya. I was really skeptical and cynical about it.
He's an IT guy in Toronto. Ayahuasca was not on his radar, but the skeptic was struggling with a secret.
Since 13, 14, I had this crippling depression. I was good at hiding it, and then I started working with a psychologist and antidepressants. It was numbing things.
Yuri wanted off his meds, and that led him to an ayahuasca retreat in Peru. He remembers powerful visions of his skin being torn off, how disconnected he was. For him, it was a rebirth.
So this is a little piece of ayahuasca vine cut in half.
Yuri is off antidepressants. He has been for 7 years. He's happy now, but goes back to the jungle annually to continue working on himself.
I can tell you right away, there is very little fun about it. It's the hardest work that I've done in my life, and every time I go to a ceremony, I dread it in a way, and if there was a way not to do it and still yield the same results, I would totally go for it.
Yuri now wants to share the power of the plant. He works with an organization that takes military vets with PTSD on jungle retreats. But the use of ayahuasca is not without risks. 32-year-old Jennifer Logan from Saskatchewan died in Peru in 2015 after a violent reaction to a tobacco purge during a ceremony. There are also real concerns in the Amazon and in North America about tea being spiked with other hallucinogens, as well as sexual assault and theft while people are under the influence.
Are there concerns that these ceremonies that are going on in North America may actually do more harm than have any real benefit to them?
I think even people who are kind of part of the research world around ayahuasca, or part of this culture, acknowledge some of the risk. So is there really sufficient screening around safety? And then is there really sufficient follow-up?
So the legal risks, the potential health risks, have pushed ayahuasca underground in cities across North America.
Is there always a lingering concern that because ayahuasca is illegal, that you've got to keep low profile, low key, and be careful about who you bring into your circle?
Of course, yeah. In Toronto, I know quite a few people who have trained in the Amazon and then came back, and I know quite a few practitioners who have relocated to Vancouver and live there now. But yeah, ceremonies in North America, people who organize them, they have a lot of logistics to worry about. It's still a crime.
But back in Long Island, Bjorn is convinced the benefits of ayahuasca outweigh the risks. And that's why he's let us and our camera into his ceremony.
We contacted a lot of people in Canada to see if we could come and videotape the ceremonies, and they were like, no way, because it's illegal, we don't want this out there. But you've allowed us in. Why? Why?
I'm not scared. I'm not scared. I've been to jail. I've been there. If they want to come, boom. You know what? When I heal other people,
that's the reward.
That's my reward, because it's healing me also.
I've seen an ayahuasca ceremony in the Amazon before, and this is something entirely different. From the First Nations headdress Bjorn recently bought online, to the sound bowls and the guard dog barking in the yard. But then it happens. The hallucinations begin. This woman, Kai, seems to be in distress. But Bjorn, who's studied with healers for years, guides her through her unsettling experience. I'm witnessing for myself why people told me ayahuasca ceremonies can be difficult, deeply personal, and sometimes painful. Clearly, this is not for everyone. In the end, the ceremony lasted 12 hours. Will it change people's lives? Well, we can't answer that, not yet. But this much we know. The next night, about 40 more people showed up for another ceremony at Bjorn's house and settled in for their own ayahuasca experience.
And we do have much more to come on The National. Up next, from the front lines of the Syrian war to hopes of a new life here in Canada. We are there as members of the White Helmets arrive. Their stories next. First, though, a look at a story you'll see here tomorrow night on The National. Just over a week before the U.S. midterm elections, Keith Bogue will take an in-depth look at Donald Trump's strategy to get out the Republican vote and why the U.S. president isn't focusing on the issue you might think would be a winner. Here's a preview.
And remember, it's going to be an election of the caravan. You know what I'm talking about.
In these last weeks before the midterm elections, Trump has returned to the issues that got him elected 2 years ago. Illegal immigration.
Regardless, that's our issue.
Law and order. While many would argue he deserves credit for an economy that's doing well, it gets only a few lines in his speech.
The unemployment rate just fell to the lowest level in over 50 years.
I think that there was a transition in his thinking in the summer when he realized that the economy would not carry him to victory, and he needed to create and focus on other issues that would.
It's the show that had the nation talking about what being smart really means.
Oh my gosh!
Challenging competitors in 6 distinctive categories. Now, Canada's smartest person is back with one big little change. Kids.
Get ready for Survival of the Smartest with Paul Sun-Hyung Lee from Kim's Convenience.
Canada's Smartest Person Junior.
New series begins November 14th on CBC.
Welcome back. Some stories we'll be watching this week. The last Greyhound buses are rolling through Western Canada. Citing low ridership, most of its service in the region will stop as of midnight Wednesday. A hodgepodge of other companies are picking up some of the routes. And another story we'll be watching this week. Protests break out after it's announced the man known as the Trump of the tropics has won Brazil's presidential election. Jair Bolsonaro, a former army captain, took 55% of the vote. And our Renee Filipponi is watching this story for us. So, Renee, start maybe by putting this in context. What does this outcome mean?
Well, Brazil has taken a far-right turn today, Andrew. Bolsonaro won with a powerful mandate by capitalizing on anger following years of corruption and a failing economy. And he says his #1 priority is to fight crime and that he plans to essentially give police the authority to kill. Now, throughout the campaign, he shocked progressive Brazilians who are worried his election will erode democracy. And his positions on a number of issues have raised concerns in the international community as well. Bolsonaro says he will sell hundreds of indigenous reserves across the country and says minorities have to adapt to the majority or disappear. He also spoke out about plans to roll back environmental regulations and open up the Amazon rainforest to loggers and farmers. Now, the campaign was divisive, and that tension was felt by Brazilians who were able to vote in Canada. Here is how one Bolsonaro voter in Toronto explained it.
Some friends of ours, they don't talk to us because we vote for democracy. They vote for the red party that is in control, so they don't want to even discuss, even talk. They don't even sometimes look at you, so because you have a different opinion from them.
And Renee, just on that note of the impact being felt here in Canada, I mean, the outcome could raise issues for the Canadian government too.
Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. And that's because Canada has been in free trade talks with the South American trade bloc, where Brazil is the biggest player. Now, if Bolsonaro follows through on his threats to Indigenous rights and the environment, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau will have to decide how to respond by weighing pressure to criticize the new leader with the desire to strike a trade deal. Andrew?
Okay. Renee Filipponi, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Well, and the bombs rain down in Syria. The White Helmets move in. They're volunteer rescue workers who operate in one of the most dangerous places on Earth, constantly searching for life in the rubble. Well, last summer, Canada spearheaded an international operation to rescue some of the rescuers. And now, CBC News has learned 117 Syrians, former White Helmets and their families, will be resettled in this country. One of them told her story to our Murray Brewster.
For two women, both White Helmets, the journey began here, amid the ruins of Dara on Syria's southern frontier, and then ran through Israel to a UN refugee camp in Jordan, and finally to Pearson Airport and this subdued, solitary welcome.
It's giving them a safe space, peace, and what they need from protection.
Musna Jareed, a White Helmet representative in Canada, was the only person waiting to greet the two and their families. One, a new mother, pregnant during the evacuation, who gave birth in the Jordanian refugee camp, would not go on camera. The other, Masoon Al-Masri, is a former journalist. Her new home, a result of a bittersweet forced exile. From a location in Ontario that she is not comfortable disclosing, Al-Masri provided an inside account of their escape last summer and how, in singling out the White Helmets, the Syrian government turned neighbor against neighbor.
في أشخاص من مناطق معينة حتى المدة اللي احنا فيها بيعرفونا وكانوا هذول العناصر يتواجدوا لما بالباصات تمرق من نقاط التفتيش كان العناصر يطلعوا على الباص فكأي شخص كان يتم انه يعرف انه هذا من دفاع المدنيات يتم اخذه.
The fate of those arrested is unknown. Other White Helmets who had wanted to leave remain trapped in Syria.
White Helmets, they're these amazing, incredibly brave people.
The Liberal government spearheaded the international rescue mission, yet it has only recently issued a statement acknowledging that White Helmets would be coming soon.
Welcome to your new home.
Much different than Justin Trudeau's personal greeting of Syrian refugees 3 years ago.
Welcome to Canada.
Times have changed, and the politics are more complicated. Despite the restrained reception, Al-Masri says she is happy Canada has accepted her and has hopes for a better life.
صراحة يعني اللي عشنا احنا صعب يعني راح نحتاج له وقت لحتى نطلع منه.
Murray Brewster, CBC News, Ottawa.
And Murray will have more compelling details on their escape from Syria tomorrow on Front Burner. That's the new daily podcast from CBC News and CBC Podcasts that launches tomorrow morning. Now, you don't have to wait until tomorrow to subscribe. You can head to cbc.ca/frontburner, or, hey, look for it wherever you normally get your podcasts. People came together tonight to mourn with the Jewish community in Pittsburgh, but the shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue has had an impact that extends far beyond just that city. Across Canada, cities held vigils to show their solidarity with Pittsburgh. We showed you some of those moments earlier in the program, and tonight we wanted to close with those as well, our moment of the day.
We come together tonight to mourn, and it's the right thing to do.
As soon as the news broke out, we got members of our community writing to us saying, Rabbi, will there be a vigil?
I pray for you, you pray for me.
And we continue, when we leave here today, to honor those we lost through advocating for all those at the margins.
May all of their memories be for a blessing. May their names never be forgotten. Amen.
We can only heal this world if we actually work to heal this world and reach out beyond ourselves. And it's amazing seeing everybody here coming together in solidarity to do that.
And that is where we'll leave you tonight. Thanks so much for watching. That's The National for October 28th. Good night.